Hello everybody, I'm ellbristow. This is Ellitopia Gaming. Welcome to another First Play. Today we are taking a look at Destination Ares. Ares. I think it's supposed to be Ares. This is, it's a space survival game. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Faster Than Light, FTL. But you get to build your own ship. It's also kind of a bit like Tharsis in its survival element and the fact that you're heading to an area of Mars. It's a tricky one to describe and to explain, but we're going to have a look at it together. Unlike my normal first plays, this is not actually the first time I've played it, because I did record myself playing through the tutorial and a bit of gameplay after that, but the recording quality was really poor for some reason, and actually the tutorial didn't really cover everything that I needed to learn from the game, so I had to kind of play it a little bit to really understand what the tutorial was trying to teach me. So a little bit of feedback for the developer on this one. The tutorial doesn't really explain the idea of the game particularly well. It does explain how to play the game and how to use certain things, but it doesn't really tell you about the goal of the game. But we're going to have a look at it together, and you can see what I'm talking about. There is an option to build your ship, which I did do. I made myself a ship, which is this one here. But actually, it wasn't actually very good. I did a playthrough with it and didn't last very long. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a new game, and we're going to use the default ship that comes with it. And you guys can, well, if you was to play it, you can decide what you're going to do yourself. Diptera, apparently, is the name of the ship. So we're going to begin. Welcome, AI. You are a spaceship. What is your name? My name is Winston. Welcome, Winston. You are a spaceship. Spaceship! What is your name? Wake up! A voice. Ho, newborn. You're the AI of our ship. We are refugees fleeing the atrocities of terror for the wastelands of Ares. There are a couple fledgling colonies there, grammar error, on Ares, that is. Get us to Ares, newborn. Our lives are in your hands. You begin to feel out your surroundings, as it were. There are little systems everywhere that you can interface with. You can access sensors and cameras. Some show you the status of the refugees and the systems. Others point out from the ship, watching a vibrant blackness. Continue. Continue? There we go. Right. It would seem your consciousness is tied to this vessel. Your perspective would help if I could read. Your perspective is limited to what you can interface with. There's plenty to do and pay attention to for the time being. You spend time studying a trove of knowledge embedded in your hardware. You practice reaching into your systems and sensors, controlling them. In no time, you're a master. From what you've gathered, your vessel is a new spaceship built piecemeal from well-worn components. This will be its first and final flight. Even if you make it to Ares, the ship will be stripped of parts. The crew requires many of the systems and modules to land and survive on the new planet. They'll certainly require any remaining supplies. You briefly wonder what that might mean for you. You're interrupted. Even so, it's not all on you. We'll do what we can to help out around here. It seems your crew, the refugees, have something to offer to help on the journey ahead. What is it? So, one of them is renowned in their craft or high quality system retrofits. High quality system retrofits? Your ship systems are decent at best. Most aren't even that, as refugees coming by any space-worthy ship system must have been prohibitively expensive. It seems your crew took extra care in acquiring some components, though. Make the most of it. Improved systems, toilet, a resilient kitchen, and a still. Okay, so continue. The crew looks antsy to get going. Supplies are loaded, system diagnostics are good, and as they're going to be. The great darkness beckons. Begin. Okay, so I'm going to pause it. This is our ship. So it's full of little systems and things, and obviously some crew members. The crew members kind of float around and do what they want. You can ask them to do certain things, but you don't have direct control over them. You can get a status from them. And for example, you can say, like if they're injured, you can say that this is an emergency and they need to be treated by one of the medical staff or whatever quickly. You can put certain things into like overdrive, which makes them work harder or something along those lines. So what we've got here, we've got helm, adjust course to reduce drift. One of the idea of this is that you're heading to Mars, and this ship for some reason seems to have a tendency to go off course. Clearly non-Newtonian physics in play. So you have a course and a speed, and obviously you're trying to get to Mars as quickly as possible. This is your progress on the way to Mars at 100%. Obviously the journey is successful, so you have to help everyone survive that long. The resources you have are oxygen, which obviously is air to breathe, food, waste, materials, fuel, and parts, and energy. And each of these systems kind of does something. So for example, we have a processor which converts waste into materials. We have a fabricator which creates parts from materials. Parts, I believe, are used for repairs. This over here is the reactor, which produces energy and waste from materials. Batteries, they store energy. That's storage for actual cargo space. Beds for sleeping. Hydroponics, that grows food from waste. The still creates fuel from materials. And this one gives a temporary boost. This is the durable injector. Temporary boosts engine output at the cost of air, bizarrely enough. That's another still. And a scrubber, there we go. Cleans the air for crew reuse. So we've got other things like communications, the radar. And yeah, so we have to try and survive. So let's take it out of pause, and you'll see the guys kind of floating around, doing their thing, and you get like events that come up while you're going along. What's he doing? He looks like he's having a nice little dance. He's using the injector thing. I don't know what that means. So yeah, they go around and they use the various different systems, and obviously they take care of their own needs. So this is a kitchen. They go and get food when they need to. They go and use the bathroom when they need to, and things like that. This guy looks like he's got a Boba Fett mask on. Nice, or a stormtrooper, I suppose. There we go. So this is an event. Someone has been hoarding a bunch of food and hiding it from the crew. It was Daniel Fontaine. So we have some options. We can convince the crew to have a feast, inform the crew, or ignore it. So ignore it has no requirements. Why is this not telling me what things do? There we go. Inform the crew has a requirement of communications 1, active, inactive, or intermittent. I don't really know what that means. We have to tell the crew, which means the communications has to be active, which is this one over here. Convince the crew to have a feast. Requirements secret option. Requirements hidden. Convince the crew to have a feast. Why would I convince the crew to have a feast? I mean, there's a fair bit of food there, but will they eat it all? I don't know. I think inform the crew is probably the best way to go about this. And this is where you get like a mini game, which is a minefield kind of game. The yellow arrows tell you when there is a mine about 2 squares away. So you have to be careful not to hit the mines. And the red circles tell you how close a mine is. And there we go. I managed it quite easily, actually. It's not actually very easy to work out where the mines are. And if you hit them, you get reset back to the beginning. So you have to kind of navigate carefully. There's 2 arrows pointing to each mine. So there's probably a mine there. Probably a mine there. Because there's 2 arrows there, 2 arrows there. So when I came to here, there's one arrow pointing that way and 2 arrows pointing that way. So there's probably a mine there, but not there. So yeah, that's kind of how I worked out what was going on. That was a bit tricky for me to understand. The tutorial on that bit really wasn't particularly clear. It took me a little while to work out what was going on, but I kind of got the idea in the end. So return to ship, and it tells me the result of that kind of minigame action. Inform the crew. The crew doesn't care. They've all been hoarding food. Ah, okay. Well, there you go. So continue. I bet I'll pull a muscle doing this. He's in the gym. De-stresses the crew as opposed to distresses. It de-stresses the crew. It doesn't, make them worried. It doesn't distress them. Why is the screen gone a little bit funny? This here is an indication of our course and speed. So we're on a good course, which means, perfect course. There you go. So you kind of waver on and off course a little bit as you're going along. And obviously the speed goes up and down. You can get a better course by getting someone to use the helm. Prevents accumulation of course drift is the radar. Communication processes all alerts and crews. Full output when strained. So that's just how you get messages to the crew. If your communications are down, you can't tell the crew to do anything. A sickness has infected Benjamin McCoy. Will it spread, or is it an isolated, non-contagious case? Have the medical crew handle it. And again, we go to a minigame. So let's... okay, I hit a mine. There's a mine. That's what a mine looks like, evidently. There we go. Made it. Return to ship, and the results were the whole crew gets sick. The whole crew gets sick and recovers in due time. The medical staff manages to handle the outbreak by alleviating the symptoms. It was contagious, but not terribly dangerous. Okay, excellent. Continue. They've all gone to sleep. We've gone a bit wonky again. It says our speed is brisk. That's good. I like a brisk speed out of my ship. You can see that each of these things is slowly using a bit of materials or things like that. You see that, so fuel goes down on the engine, the speed and the power goes up and things like that. The yellow is what it's using, the blue is what it's creating. So that's creating O2. That's creating waste. The waste can be reused. It's all about recycling the resources as you're playing along, long enough to last until you get to your destination. So obviously when you run out of waste, you can't recycle it, so you have to use something else to create some waste. They use the bathroom and that creates some waste, etc. And then as I say, you can overdrive things. So for example, if you want to speed the ship up a bit, you could go to here and you could say overdrive. So increase the speed and output of the system. Also increase risk of damage. So we could increase the speed, which will hopefully get us to... only when functional. What does that mean? It's gone off. It's gone off. Someone's gone to repair it, I think. Is it coming back online? There we go. Okay, so it went offline for some reason. So if we overdrive it, it increases the risk of damage, but will increase our speed, in theory. There we go. Raw speed, 280, 282, 284, 286. So that's speeding us up, which will get us to our destination quicker, but we'll use more fuel and things like that. So let's turn off overdrive, go back to normal speed. And another event. The deep void of space looms ominously all around. You can feel it through your senses and see in the eyes of the crew what waits for you out there. Is it darkness? Is it hope? Is it fate? Hope awaits us. Hope suits you. Positivity inspires the crew. After all, keeping up morale can be the difference between life and death. Which is why you chirp in a friendly manner when James Claiborne takes some mission-critical supplies to make a lewd sculpture for personal use. Okay, fair enough. So 13% of the way we've managed so far. The oxygen's good, the food is good, the materials and fuel and parts are good. In fact, everything's looking quite good. I believe we're doing better here than we were when I had a look at this game before when I went through the tutorial and things. So, yeah, they're doing okay. They're looking after it quite well. Our course is now fast. We're doing 306 raw speed, effective speed of 296. So the overdrive clearly got us going pretty quickly. 18% now. Day 15. Oh, here we go. You're not sure if a crew member avoided using the toilet. Apparently space toilets are complicated. A waistline backed up, or it's time for biological warfare. Oh, I see. So, have they avoided using the toilet? Has the waistline backed up, or is it time for biological warfare? Feces, sticking, floating, everywhere. Okay, use the fire suppression system to guide all the waste into an airlock and then space it. Or it's a human problem, not an AI problem. Let's try the airlock thing. Here we go. Right, another mini game. Let's go. Ooh. This way. Yay! Return to ship. What happens? Success! The feces are now meteoroids. Nice. Continue. So yeah. Why does the screen keep going wonky that way? Is that like us getting a boost in speed or something like that? What do we... No, I don't know. I don't know why it keeps... Oh, something's wrong. The still is malfunctioning, and it's more dramatic than you'd expect from the regular wear and tear around here. Then it breaks outright. Run diagnostics. Was it sabotaged? That could be. Who would do something like that? One of your crew, monitor them closely. A Terran government agent, surely, probably not even on board. Yeah, okay, we'll monitor the staff. You definitely have a saboteur. Theo Fontaine isn't feeling well. Blood analysis shows that they were poisoned. Whoever did this is still on board and clearly willing to throw their own life away to achieve their goals. Hunt them down! The good news, you found the traitor. The bad news, you found them as they hit the airlock controls. Spaced. You watch as Benjamin McCoy's blood boils and they scream silently. You assume this is what agony looks like. So we lost a crew member. He shoved himself out the airlock. The saboteur risked the entire expedition and then threw away their own life when you caught their trail. They did leave some plans left undone though. A cache of bomb parts and materials is discovered, hidden behind a bulkhead panel. Those will be repurposed. Okay, so does that mean we get a few extra parts and things? Yes. Okay, some extra parts and materials. So we've lost a crew member. We're down to 3. We lost McCoy. Poor bones. So this is broken. So we now need... This is warning. It's not an emergency, but... That sends a message to the crew that someone needs to go and repair it. And there we go. An engineer has been sent to go and deal with that for us. Heat and moisture got trapped behind a wall panel, right where a bunch of food was being stored. Some food has clearly gone bad. However, there's a chance some of it could be saved. Okay, so we had 38 food. It dropped to 31. Not the end of the world. Oh. What was that noise? I don't know what that noise meant. Still broken, shoddy. So it's still broken. Okay. We still need it fixed. If someone could go and fix it, please. What have you? Why are you unconscious? The doctor's gone to deal with him. I think he's just overtired. We don't get a lot of information about people. Okay, this guy now, who is he? He's a scientist. He's gone to fix the still instead. There we go. He's fixed it. Well done. Which one are you? You're James Claiborne. Well done, James Claiborne. You're Erin Hawkins and you're Theo Fontaine. Okay, and McCoy's the one that spaced himself. Okay, so... I don't know what... overdriving other things might do. See, we're not on course at the moment, so if I can't overdrive that. Why is that not functional? Someone go and deal with the radar, please, because apparently it's not functional, and we are slowly getting a little bit off course. There we go. Now we can overdrive it, which will stop us from drifting off course a little bit at the cost of some extra power. Yeah. Although we don't need it on very long, so let's turn it off. We have got perfect course and a brisk speed. We're at 33% progress. A beacon beeps happily ahead of your current course. It seems to have been left behind by an asteroid mining hub ship. Let's see. Pick it up. It's fuel and raw materials. It's only a large pile of waste. Still quite sizable. It's a navigation buoy. Download its intel. Yeah, let's do that. The intel has information on objects in the route, both to avoid and use for boosts. Heading improved and a bit of speed gained. Cool. Okay. So we've got a bit of extra speed. Our heading is perfect though, so that's wasn't much use to us. There we go, 35%. We're over a third of the way through our course to Mars now, on day 27. Everything still looks relatively stable. It's quite a good ship design, actually, this default ship, because it's got everything that you need to keep the ship kind of up and running. Having lost a crew member is a bit of a pain, but actually that means there's less people to feed, which is a slight positive from the whole situation. So there we go, coming up on 40% progress. So I'm not going to play the whole thing through because, you know, I don't want to spoil anything that might happen later in the game. Not that I know if anything does particularly happen that's special later in the game, but you kind of get the idea of what's going on. It's a survival game. You've got to keep the crew alive. You've got to keep the ship alive. You are the ship, so you've got to keep yourself alive. And you've got to monitor all the systems and keep everybody happy on the journey, whilst at the same time keeping them alive, so that you can actually get to where you've got to go. It's quite an interesting little game. It's worth taking a look. It's on early access on Steam. This is not the final build. There probably will be changes and improvements before it's actually officially released. But I suggest that you do check it out. Link will be in the description where you can go and have a look at that. And there you go. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Thank you for watching. I've been ellbristow. This has been Ellitopia Gaming. There's another event for me to take a look at. I'm pretty sure I've dealt with that one before. This has been Destination Aries. Don't forget to support the indies. And I'll see you next time.